Looking at different ways to kind of do today's lesson. But what I was thinking about is if anyone's interested, we can do a simul. So I'll just wait for everyone to come by, and then maybe we can start like a game in five simul or so. Maybe five players, five or six players, depending on how many people are here. But I was thinking we could do basically like a game in five simul with maybe five players, and then if we get through that, basically we can we can take a look at the openings that were played in the simul. I'll try to play correct openings. I'll try to make sure that the opening theory is there and correct. But yeah, I was just gonna play a few games of Bullet, and then probably get into the 5 minute simul if people are up for that. Anyways, I'll wait for people to show up. I'll wait for us to get started, and we can do some free analysis of the of the simuls once once those games come in. So, anyways, should be interesting. We will take a look once people start getting here, and until then, I'll just start off with some Bullet. Bullet's interesting. I don't know. I try to play Bullet opening theory correctly at this point. You can definitely get by without playing opening theory correctly in Bullet, but what tends to be valuable about it is if your goal is to learn as much opening theory quickly, you can do that and use Bullet as an opportunity to get a lot of games in a real competitive situation as quickly as possible. Hey, welcome. I was thinking we could do a simul. So if people match me to game in 5 minute if people match me to game in 5 minute on chess.com, we can get a simul going, and then after the simul we can do game analysis. Is what I was thinking. But it's up to you, and whatever you guys are the most comfortable with works. Yeah, just let me know, and we can get a simul going and take a look. I'm trying to see how this game should go. This one's kind of interesting because I feel like I've let's see. This is kind of tricky. Let's see. I think that's the best option for me. But not 100% on this. All right. I may have to flag him here, which would be annoying, but yep, I'll have to flag him, I guess. This is a tough game. This guy played pretty well. I shouldn't have traded into the pawn, rook and or the king and pawn endgame, to be honest. All right, interesting. So yeah, so for whoever's here, if you're interested in playing a game in 5 minute simul, we can take a look at that. Let's take a look at this theory from this game that I just played. This is kind of interesting. 1b3. So 1b3, I don't know. This is kind of a Bullet opening, specific to Bullet, but it's called the Nimzowitsch-Larsen attack. I didn't necessarily know the name of that. But here I was thinking that either e5 or d5 or knight to f6. Okay, those are the three most common. In terms of eval perspective, let's take a look. They look like they're all about the same. Black quickly equalizes when white makes no attempt for the center. So let's look. E5. E5 makes kind of a direct attempt for the center. It puts the bishop on the fianchettoed diagonal. That probably is best. Bishop to b2, knight to c6 is the line. This knight follows on e5, and basically things are going fine for black here. I think this ends up being good. I don't think that white really has much to play. I didn't know I didn't know that was a thing, Kiro, to be completely honest. But yeah, so this knight to c6 is defending this e5. If anyone wants to play a simul, I was looking for challenges in a game in 5 simul here. Yeah, no pressure. Hey, good morning, Aphelion. Thanks for joining the stream. So yeah, so I was thinking we could do a game in 5 simul, and then we can do an opening analysis. Yeah, I didn't realize it was today though. What time is it again, Kira? I'll be ready to go on that. So yeah, so the team battle, I should probably learn the details too. Let me take a look. Yeah, let me just take a look at the specifics for that. I'm curious. So we have a team tournament 10-0. Okay, cool. That's right. All right, I saw this. I talked to Anshu about this. Yeah, sorry, I forgot it was today, but yeah, yeah, sounds good. I'll definitely be ready to play on that. It's an arena, right? Isn't it? It's an arena tournament, not a specific like not a not a set games or whatever. Hey, welcome, Samsung20. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, no worries, Aphelion. But yeah, if anyone wants to match me in Game in 5, feel free to do that. Game in 5 on chess.com. I wanted to simul like 3 to 5 games. Then we could just take a look at the opening theory from them. So yeah, I'm sort of interested in looking at opening theory. So if anyone wants to match me to a game in 5 minutes on a chess.com, we can play that game and then we can we can make it part of the lesson. That's what I was thinking of doing. But yeah, no, I'll check it out, Kira. I'll get that figured out after this game. Game in 5. It can be rated or unrated. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, Kira. All right, so there's the first one. Awesome. Hey, thanks for the follow, pro gamer. Appreciate it. But yeah, so now I have one challenge coming in from Kiro. And when we get to about 5, I was hoping 3 to 5. We can start those off and then play the stream. Yeah, 5 minute. All right, cool. We're up to 2. Oh man, this game went badly. But yeah, yeah. So we're up to two challenges. We'll see if we can get to 5. If we can't get to 5, then 3 should be fine. But I wanted to take a look. I wanted to start off games and then we could use those for like opening analysis. Is sort of what I had in mind for the first half of this stream. Yeah, you can just keep the challenge open, Sam Sejwani. But yeah, I was hoping to get 3 to 5. Cool. There's Aphelion, and then Sam Sejwani, and yeah, let's see if we can get 2 more in the next 3 minutes or so. And if we get 3 more in the next 2 minutes, then we will then we'll do that. If not, we can just start it. But this is enough to start. I was just hoping to get up to 5 if we could. So yeah, if anyone else wants to join the simul, we have 3 games so far. I was hoping to get to 5 full ones, and then we can start the simul and use that for some lesson material. So yeah, 2 more slots for open games on the simul, if anyone's interested, and yeah, we'll be ready to go. Blindfolded simul seems pretty difficult, to be honest. I don't know how you could do that. I guess with a blindfolded simul, you'd probably have to keep the games memorized. Like you'd have to like memorize where each game was. I don't think you could do it with more games than you could memorize like immediately. But yeah, we're up to 3, or sorry, we're at 2 games now. But yeah, we're waiting for more people. So if more people come in, we'll get that started. And I was hoping to get to 5. That may be too much, but yeah. In any case, waiting to get to 5, and if we get there, that would be cool. So we have 2 so far. Yeah, no, I mean I've seen it. There used to be a client called Dasher that used to be usable for that. But yeah, I mean Magnus Magnus is a pretty high bar to be setting for yourself. I was hoping to get up to 5 people. We're at 3 now, and I wanted to get to 5 for a 5-minute simul. But I'll give it another maybe 2 to 4 minutes. But if yeah, then we can take a look at the games afterwards. After that starts. And that should be cool. So, anyways, let's see if we can get up to 5 people. Cool. All right. Thanks for the game, Vishal. We're up to 3. If we can get Sam Sejwani's game back, we're up to 4 people, and I was hoping to get 1 more, and then we'll start. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 1 minute. This is also interesting. So yeah, anyone else who wants to join the simul starts. I was hoping to get to 5 people. We have 3 right now, but if we can get to 5, then we're there. So yeah, up to 5 is what I was hoping for. Um, oh right, yeah, he's gonna get that rook. Cool. But we're at 3. I wanted to get to 5. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, we're up to 4. One more person. One more person. Okay, one more person and we'll get the game started. Jeez, these 1-minute games, they're hard to do when I'm talking to the stream. Interesting. So yeah, so one more person and we'll get the simul started. If we don't get it done, if we don't get a 5th person by the end of this game, I'll just start it with 4, I guess. That's fine. But I was hoping for 5. Uh, one more. If we can't get it, we can't get it. But I was just hoping for I was just hoping for a single more person to get the simul going. Okay, all right, let's start it. All right, so we're starting the simul. This is 4 games of 5-0, I think. Although someone matched me with 5-5, but okay, sure. And if we get one more person can join the simul after this. But let's get started, and then we can use these games for the first half of this lesson. So we have 4 games going right now. But if someone else wants to join in, feel free. These are interesting. I was trying to get a kingside attack in this one where I'm playing white, but interesting. I'm not sure how correct these were. Yeah, this one in particular, this one against, I think it's against Kiro. I wasn't sure if I was doing that one right, but Okay, now at least I have an open file there. Okay, good game, GM Vishyat. Thanks for the game. We will look over that stream shortly. Also, thank you for the game, Sam Sejwani. Thanks for joining the stream, and thank you for joining the simul. And yeah, two more. Kiro's game is traded off into a rook and pawn endgame. Aphilion's game is a rook and pawn endgame as well, I think. Or I guess there's still a bishop there. But yeah, so we're finishing up the last two of what was a simul of four. That was interesting, for sure. But yeah, wrapping this up, and then we can take a look at the opening theory just to learn the games a bit. Cool. Hey, welcome, Yeet. There are always chances of mouse slip. That is true. There's always chances of mouse slip for sure. I make a lot of errors too, just generally. But yeah, yeah, this is interesting. So this one's traded off, and this game against Kiro's traded off into a rook and pawn endgame. Not sure exactly how I was supposed to do that. This is probably a good game if we have some time at the end for analysis of endgames, as in in addition to openings. We can take a look at this rook and pawn endgame. This one's pretty interesting. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. This one too, I'm not super sure about. This could be drawish, to be honest, against Aphelion. Gonna have to be careful here. Interesting. Yeah, that can happen. I mean, mouse slips count, right? I mean, they matter. Especially in 1 minute. 1 minute, a lot of games are actually decided on mouse slips. Felion's got a pretty good defensive strategy here. I think it's going to be pretty tricky for me to get in through the dark squares here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've got a real path into the position in Aphilion's game. That could definitely be a draw. Yep. Makes sense. So two good end games, actually two very instructive end games that we can take a look at after this. Well, we're just wrapping up. You can play the next one, Yeet, but we were going to use this game. Hey, welcome Possibilities. Thanks for joining the stream, and thanks for being here. But yeah, no, it's a little bit late for this simul. We were going to take a look at the simul games and kind of see if we could make a small lesson out of it. But yeah, Aphilion's endgame does look drawish. I agree with that. I'm gonna try, but I think Aphelion might have a draw there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe, but on time that's less of a legitimate win for sure. Uh, Here we go. This is okay. All right, good game, Kiro. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for joining the simul as well. Uh, but I gotta. Aphelios game is complicated. Um, I also have to be very careful to not hang this e pawn. Uh, yeah, see that didn't really work. That tactic didn't particularly work for me. So I have to be careful with this. I think this should at least get the bishop off the board, right? Maybe not. Uh, I think this tactic works, right? Oh no, it doesn't. I have the wrong colored bishop. So this one I'm gonna have to dirty flag on, which is really lame, but I think that's a requirement. Yeah, but it should have been a draw. Uh, I don't know. That was sort of rough. Or maybe I can use this tactic. Can I? Is there any way to use this pawn tactic? Probably not, actually. Eh. Yeah, the tactic's not. There's nothing. There's no tactic with that pawn. All right. Well, that was clearly a draw in Nephelion's game. So yeah, really good question, Ferrari. So if anyone wants to take a good game, Aphelion, you had a draw there. You had a draw. Sorry, good game, good game. Yeah. So you've asked. Yeah. So you've asked what is the easiest title to learn, Ferrari, and that's a really good question. So the answer is I think it's the FIDE arena title. I just earned mine this week. This is the first FIDE title that I've gotten. I got the Arena Grandmaster title just this week. But I think this was this is an important thing for you to know, Ferrari. If anyone's interested, FIDE has their own client. It has. It's not the best client, to be completely honest. But it is the only one that can get you an official FIDE title. So the important thing is there's 12 titles in FIDE. Yeah, I did. If you check the Discord, let me see. Maybe the link is there, but yeah, I got my AGM. I've got the full thing. Let me see. I don't know if you can post a link. Can you post an image in Twitch chat? Um, yeah, that is my FIDE title. It is Arena Grandmaster at this point. We'll see what happens if I can get. I think that CM probably supersedes it, but there's 12 FIDE titles for the moment, and I would strongly recommend getting one. If you can get FIDE titles, yes, that is the one. Yep, that's correct, Ferrari. So yeah, so there's that FIDE client, and if you can get on there, the FIDE Online Arena, yeah, you can get a full FIDE title. FIDE has made their title system so that there's now 12 at least official titles. I think there's also like some other ones. There's FIDE International Arbiter and FIDE Arbiter, and then maybe some trainer titles. So those ones. But yeah, there is. It's about $30, I think, USC, or $30 US or something like that. But I don't know. I guess I would sort of say if FIDE's making it so that everyone has a title, then you might as well jump on that opportunity, right? I would. That's basically an opportunity that all the other servers can't offer. But you can actually get an official title in the International Chess Federation, based on performance played online. Sometimes if you want, at bullet time control. That's what I did. I played 150 bullet games with a rating of over 2,000 and got my Grandmaster title from FIDE that way. So yeah, if anyone else is interested in getting in on the FIDE title, these FIDE titles are important, and put a title next to your name. Why not? If you can put a title next to your name, then do. Why not? And here's your opportunity. Um, so yeah, 12 titles ranging from Grandmaster to Candidate Master, Women's Grandmaster, Women's Candidate Master, and Arena Grandmaster to Arena Candidate Master. Yeah, I'm just saying, why not? I just got mine. It took about a day. A day of bullet chess. So yeah, I would recommend it. To be completely honest, bullet chess for a day, and I was able to get my AGM, my first official FIDE title, and it didn't take too long, so that was good. But yeah, to be fair, the titles should be based off of playing quality and not how long you're doing it for. So whatever. But it took me about a day, and so I would recommend that others jump on this opportunity. 12 official titles from FIDE, or 12 official playing titles from FIDE. Go get yourself one. It's still, yeah. I mean, I would say it takes about a day, Sam Sejuani. One day of bullet chess. It's 150 bullet games. That should take about 300 minutes. Depending on how many other people are there, that could be slower or faster, but it took me a day. So if anyone wants to play and get their own FIDE title, they can do that. This is how you would do it. And you don't have to play tournaments. You just have to specify FIDE rated. FIDE rated tournament or FIDE rated game, and if you get the client and come back to me, I'll be happy to show you. But yeah, it's a FIDE rated. It's not even a client. It's actually an online web app. But yeah, if you go on there and start searching for FIDE rated games, you can get yourself a title. I am now a FIDE AGM. I feel about the same as I did before, but now I have a FIDE title. So that's the big thing. Yeah, it's up to you, Sam Sejuani. I did bullet because it's faster, but yeah, you can also do 50 rapid games if that's your preference. You can do 50 rapid. 100 bullet is faster than 50 rapid for sure. But yeah, whatever works for you. You can get your FIDE title, have a FIDE title, and encourage your tournament director to put the FIDE title next to your name on the wall chart. Anyways, that's that opportunity. I think that it's an overlooked opportunity at this point. Not too many people have figured it out. Not that many people know about it. So yeah, if you want a FIDE title, get yourself a FIDE title. I think they're great. Why basically FIDE titles are something that people work their entire lives for. So you might as well get yourself one since you can. Anyways, that's my suggestion there. I got my AGM this week. It is an official FIDE title. Still waiting for my FIDE player page to change, but that FIDE title, just so you know, well within reach. Will take effort, yeah, but that's an OTB title. Look, they're all the same, right? I mean, they're all going next to your name. FIDE has 12 playing titles. We can see on this Wikipedia page, there's 4 open, 4 women's, and 4 online on the arena. So, get yourself one of the 12. Since you can get yourself one of the 12, get yourself one of the 12. This is a great opportunity. Definitely jump on it. I myself am now an Arena Grandmaster as of this week, and you can be too. So yeah. But no, get yourself an ACM. That's what FIDE counts them as real. So if FIDE counts them as real, then that's on chess.com. But get yourself a title. That's what I'm saying. FIDE titles are something that people take very seriously. So the important thing that you can do is get yourself an ACM and then press chess.com to let you into Title Tuesday. Like that's what I would do here. Just since FIDE is just since FIDE is giving these titles, you might as well encourage, chess.com to come into alignment with the international chess body. If the international chess body is, uh, yeah, well, that seems like a shortcoming with chess.com. What I'm saying is, FIDE has 12 titles. Okay, 12 titles for FIDE: open titles, women's titles, arena titles. So you have 12 titles, uh, and I would say under 900, Kiro. You're playing pretty well for an under 900, but yeah, under 900, I think could be a good OTB fit for you. But what I'm saying is, there's 12 titles for FIDE. Go get yourself one. It costs about $75 USD, and then you'll have a FIDE title for life. So might as well. That's my point there. I am now an Arena Grandmaster. I have a FIDE title, and I would say, if you want to study Kiro, we can go over some games. We should get started. People keep bringing up titles. I'm excited because I have my brand new first FIDE title as of this week, so I got sidetracked on that. But let's go back and study. Cool. So yeah, how should you prepare for your first tournament? Tactics. I mean, if you really want to maximize, do tactics for 6 hours a day or however much free time you have going into your tournament. If you do tactics on Puzzle Battle or Puzzle Rush for 6 hours a day for a week, I guarantee you will be in very good tournament condition by the time that you start it. But yeah, so here's your title. Here's your opportunity to get a FIDE title, and jump in. FIDE title. I have one. You can get one too. Arena Candidate Master is achieved by 150 bullet games with a performance rating of over 1100. I think that many people here will have an opportunity to get themselves a FIDE title with this early ACM. So yeah, go for it. Anyways, let's take a look at those 4 games that were just simuled. We'll take a look. And here we go. So the first was against Sam Sejuani. By the way, I don't really want to go into the full games here. I just want to look at the opening. So the opening here was basically an Italian game that I play pretty frequently. This is the Italian game. No. I think chess.com is yet to adjust is the answer. But look, we're looking at the official FIDE page, right? This is the FIDE titles page. FIDE titles on Wikipedia, and they have 12. They have Grandmaster through CM, they have WGM through WCM, and they have AGM through ACM. So what I'm saying is, FIDE counts it. Chess.com is not FIDE. Chess.com, I'm sure, has at the end of the day the right to do whatever they want to do with what titles they recognize. But on that page that you're talking about, Sam Sejuani, they are neglecting maybe M. How about, what does M stand for? That's interesting. Look, there's a title here. There's an M title. I don't know what an M title is, but maybe AGM will fit under that. So go get yourself a FIDE title. FIDE titles are available online. I was doing, I basically got one this week, and you can definitely jump in on that. You have open titles, you have women's titles, and you have arena titles, and in many places, due to current health concerns as well, people can't play over the board. Yeah, but here's the thing. Ferrari. They're all titles. This title, that title. It's a FIDE recognized title. FIDE has 12 titles. There's 12. 4, 8, 12. So we might as well have one. People work their entire lives for a FIDE title. So make sure that you get one while you can. We don't know what FIDE is going to do going forward, but right now, an official chess playing title by FIDE is given for performance on the online arena. So you might as well capitalize on it. Why not? Interesting. I've never heard. Hey, welcome, Angry. Thanks for joining the stream. But yeah, so hey, I'll take an M title. But yes, just so we all know, there's 12 FIDE titles. Go get yourself one. ACM, if ACM is where you're at, then ACM is where you're at. But get yourself a FIDE title and then tell your tournament director to make sure that they include it on the wall chart. The next FIDE tournament that I play, I'm going to request that my AGM title be put on the wall chart next to my name because it is my appropriate FIDE title. So what I'm saying is, go get your FIDE title. And hey, welcome, Anch. Thanks for joining the stream. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, so I've been talking about FIDE titles. I did a simul for a minute, but people seem to like talking about the FIDE title system, so I'm super happy to go over this. Yeah, so how are your games? Which games are you talking about, Angry? Um, Interesting. Cool. Interesting. Well, what I'm saying is, you can get I've never heard of that particular case, but in any case, ask for an AGM title. Look, the thing about yeah, they're good. They're good at Determined Vision. We're starting one in about 9 minutes or so, depending on kind of basically, I was looking through kind of the opening theory, but we were just talking about FIDE titles and how everyone here should get one. Um, Interesting. Well, look, here's the thing. If he can get an M title, then I think that we should be able to get arena titles put next to our name. Chess.com put an M title next to his name, right? So that would mean that there are people on chess. Yeah, but it's one for chess.com, right? So if chess.com is putting a non-FIDE title next to people's names, then they should be able to put a legitimate FIDE title next to people's names, right? Like AGM, AIM, AFM, ACM. These are legitimate FIDE titles. I got one this week. I'm excited about it. I'm gonna ask my next FIDE tournament director to put my AGM next to my name, yeah, just so we all know, AGM. This is there. Interesting. Coach has one. Huh. Neat. Um, uh, no, I'm not saying I'm not switching to anything. What I'm saying is these are arena titles. They are given by the international governing body. Go get yourself an arena title. Why not? Is my point. No, I like chess.com. But yeah, these arena titles. Yeah, so they don't have them either. But FIDE does, and FIDE is the highest body. FIDE supersedes chess.com in terms of officialness of chess. But yeah, if you join arena titles, yeah, I'll be there at 10:30, Anch, for sure. Um, uh, yeah, but anyways, if you want an official FIDE title, go get yourself one. FIDE has them. There's 12, and 4 of them are arena titles. I got one this week. It worked. So feel free to go get them. So yeah, that's the answer, Chiku. Uh, I think Aphelion is working on his ACM title. The thing I will say about these titles is that the rating systems on the FIDE arena are a little bit unusual. So I think the best rating system to get a FIDE title in is probably Bullet. I think Aphelion was working on his ACM title. So I think ACM is definitely doable by a good number of people on the stream. And Yeah, I think that FIDE title. I think FIDE ACM. That's the first one. So go for it. One good thing about FIDE Arena as well is as you're working towards your FIDE title, they give you an update about how many more games you have to go. So like, when on the day that I was working towards my AGM title, I kept playing bullet games, and I could gradually see the number ticking down. In terms of how many games I had left. So it would say, you have like 75 games left, and then I play a game, and then it would say you have 74 games left and 73 games left, or whatever, until you get your title. But yeah, they keep track of it for you, and then as soon as you get it, the system and infrastructure is there to give you your title almost immediately. So, anyways, FIDE titles, I think are well within the reach, and if you find something like this, yeah, just play a certain amount of games, and I don't know if it's that your rating has to, I don't know if it's your rating has to be above that point for a game, or whether the games have to be consecutive or not. What I can say about my personal experience is that I played 150 bullet games. My rating was above 2,000 for all of them. So with that that FIDE title above 2,000 for all of my games, it just sort of gradually ticked down. But yeah, get yourself a FIDE title. Why not? FIDE titles are there. They are meant to be they're meant to be earned. The highest international body is there. Yeah. So my point is that people work very hard to get an FM title. Uh, you know, but why not get an ACM title? Since FIDE has allowed the option, I think you can get your title, put it next to your name on the wall chart, and then it'll be there. So that's my suggestion on that. Up to you. But I got my AGM this week, and it is my first official FIDE title. Um, hey, they're all titles. There's 12 titles, but that FIDE gives for playing. These arena titles are 4 of the 12. So I don't know. I thought it was worth the $75 USD to get one. It's everyone's personal decision, but I thought it was pretty cool. The next FIDE tournament that I'm playing in, I will request my tournament director put that AGM next to my name, next to everyone's GMs and IMs, and I would encourage anyone else in that situation to do that as well, all the way down to ACMs. Why not? Anyways, I got distracted from the game analysis. We're looking at, basically this one was the Guaco Pianissimo. Guaco Pianissimo comes with bishop to c5 against bishop to c4. I played d3, the canal variation. This was against Sam Sejuani. The next one, let's get on to the next one here. This one was against Vishal. Wow, that's restrictive. So yeah, Vishal is playing black here. Interesting opening. So this is the Benoni, right? With Benoni with c5, this immediate c5. Let's see how playable e3 is. d5 I think is a little bit better. d3, knight f3, e3. E3 is far down the list. I'm not sure if I should be playing e3 here. E3 is given as the second best. D5 is given as the engine's best. So I should probably switch to D5. That's not really a small difference. It's a difference of about 0.75. But yeah, 0.75 here, and D5 looks better. Yeah. So D5 is better. But yeah, Benko then undermines the center. But I played this e3 line. The e3 line's not given as bad, but it's not given as particularly good either. Pawn takes d4 is not the best, but this does, kind of solidify the center as white. Anyways, that's the opening on that one. And so that leads me to believe that I should be playing d5 against that one. And then in Ophelion's game, this one was also Guaco Piano. White castled relatively early. Here, castling is the in terms of how common a move castling is. I would bet it's about the second or third choice. It's the second choice. More common is c3 than castling, but castling is also a solid second choice here. Castles d6, c3, knight f6. And basically here, this situation ends this situation ends up with slightly better development for black, but an equal game and one that's playable for each side. White is showing a positive eval, so no opening errors there. And then I was looking at the last one. Last one was the one against Kiro. And against Kiro, we played the Sicilian defense. Sicilian defense with an unnecessarily early d4, I think. I played Grand Prix, and then we're still in Grand Prix theory for sure. Hey, welcome, Electric Horse. Thanks for joining the stream. But yeah, knight f3, bishop to g4, and white's better here, I think. But yeah, in this case, bishop to g4 is, the number 4 choice. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but yeah, this bishop to g4 is not the most popular move. I think yeah, chess to the moon. Thank you, Electric Horse. We went over those FIDE titles. I think the FIDE titles are great. If they're there, I would highly recommend anyone earn them. I do think that if the thing is a little bit, if the pricing on the game is restricted, or if the pricing is restricted, then that's a bummer. That would have to be something to talk over with FIDE. But in any case, I would say that these FIDE titles, this is an underexplored option. But yeah, thank you very much for the acknowledgement, Electric Horse. We were talking about this a minute ago. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Angry. That early the AGM. Yeah, why not? I'm requesting that AGM go next to my name on any FIDE rated tournament that I play, for sure. If FIDE has made this one of their titles, FIDE has made this one of their titles. So I want recognition for my international title to be there. Another place I was thinking, the U.S. Chess Federation has their own thing here where they actually acknowledge your title here, where they say on here what your title is. So here, I have no title, right? Because I'm not a titled player. They have my FIDE ID. They have my FIDE country. But do I think AGM is more impressive than NM? I don't know. That's a tough question. But I would say, the main point is don't. I don't know. The point is, I think that they're equivalent, right? USCF is for USCF is for USCF well, you can play. Every country has their own national federation as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there exists a there exists a Canadian Chess Federation for sure as well. But yeah, let's look at this. So so this is Justin Sarkar. He's someone who plays frequently on chess.com USCF rated tournaments. But the thing about it is he has his FIDE title noted here. It's FIDE title International Master. So this FIDE title right here, it says International Master on his chart. So I think that this FIDE title here, International Master, that should apply to players here too, just from the USC or just from the arena title, because my arena title is AGM, so USCF should put it under their FIDE title. It's a legitimate FIDE title. I'm just checking, just because I'm curious. I'm just looking. Let's see if they have other non-player titles put next to people's names on the US Chess website. I think that they do. I'm picking this guy because I know he's an international arbiter. They don't have his FIDE on there. That's kind of interesting. Let me look. They might have. I'm looking for people who have non-playing titles here. Yeah. So see, look. This guy's name is Frank Brady, right? And he has his non-playing title next to his name. So Frank Brady is a well-known guy in New York City area who's basically a FIDE international arbiter and a FIDE international organizer. And FIDE titles are actually noted next to his name here. They have his FIDE ID, they have his FIDE country, they have his FIDE title, international arbiter and international organizer. So what I'm saying is they should have AGM there too. They should have the arena titles. FIDE has made it so that that there are arena titles. So if these people are allowed to have non-playing titles next to their name on the U.S. national website, then I think that they should have arena titles there too. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. I mean, these are not even playing titles. This is international arbiter and international organizer. So if these non-playing titles, these non-playing FIDE titles are included on the USCF title on the USCF websites, then the arena titles should be noted on the USCF website as well. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'll contact the USCF, but this is interesting because these are non-playing titles. This is arbiter and organizer. Neither of these is playing titles, and this player is not a not a master level player. So what I'm saying is, if they have this, then they should acknowledge arena titles as well. That means that they're just acknowledging, they're acknowledging all FIDE titles. So this is a legitimate FIDE title. Anyways, get your FIDE titles. There's only one website that gives you FIDE titles. It's not that hard to get on there. And obviously this is something that I've thought about this week because I got my own. So. Anyways, on to the games. Determined Vision's game is first. Let's take a look. Determined Vision is playing white here. And yeah, Determined Vision plays the early Scotch game. Cool. Let's take a look. Scotch with an early knight takes, knight to f6. I don't know, but what I'm saying is, are you talking about me, or are you talking about the guy that I just pulled up the international organizer with the international organizer designation? Because I don't know, but in my mind, if international organizer gets you a FIDE title, that's not even a playing title. That's just that's a FIDE title, but not an organizer, or not a playing FIDE title. I have to think that playing FIDE titles would supersede any would supersede any non-playing titles. So anyways, I've been going on about it for a while. I think it's a great opportunity. It exists and it's there, so I would jump on that opportunity. If you don't have to play over the board and you can get your FIDE title by playing 150 bullet games online, then you might as well. All right, here's Determined Vision's game. We'll take a look. So knight f6 is an interesting move against the Scotch. Knight f6 is actually the most common. Bishop to c5, bishop to e3, queen to f6, c3. This is how the Scotch usually plays out. These openings seem to be pretty stylish. This basically bishop e3 and queen f6 setup. But knight f6 is actually the play here. Two developed pieces against one, and it's up to white to determine what to do. Opportunities include knight to c3, knight takes c6. Here I would say, I would play. I mean, either is fine. So say knight to c6. That's the second main line. Looks like it has a better breakdown for white in terms of practical play, and it looks like it's better on the engine. So yeah, I like knight to c6 too. So far, this opening makes a lot of sense for white. Follows the opening book, seems to be objectively the best determined by the engine, so good stuff. And here's where things diverge. So here, the number one move is e5. All of these moves I think are fine as determined by the engine, so I wouldn't say knight to c3 is a bad move. But the main move here is e5, just so we know for our understanding of the opening book. Then it goes queen to e7, queen to e2, knight d5. This is how that particular line of the Scotch is played. E5, queen e7, queen e2, knight d5. Okay, knight to c3, bishop to d3, and then it's up to Black's turn to decide what to do here. So yeah, d5 castles are options for Black, but we're in very well explored opening theory territory. d5 castles are the main two here. Castles, castles, d5, e takes d5, c takes d5. And basically, we've continued to follow the Scotch game pretty rigidly. Here, a3 versus bishop to g5, which is the main line. I don't think this should be too terrible. We're still relatively close to equality here, but yeah, a3 continues to be within the opening lines. And here, Black plays his first move that isn't, basically, a3 is a much less common move. And then with bishop to c5, we're taken out of opening theory. I don't think anything's particularly bad about bishop to c5. This diagonal is fine. It's not as if white has e3 as a resource here. But bishop on c5 and this situation should be good for Black. Bishop to g5, h6, bishop to h4, bishop to b6. And basically here, white has secured an advantage. Bishop to b6 is the first error type move that Black has played. It's not as aggressive as bishop to e7. Let's take a look. Scotch e4 e5. Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at that one. I think that's an interesting version too. We can take a look, Sam Sejuani. So e takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop to c5, knight to b3. In terms of playing this, yeah, knight to b3 is a totally playable move. Knight to b3, bishop to b6, and white's equal. Cool. So knight to b3 threatens the bishop on c5. White's going to have comfortable development with knight to c3, bishop to c4, bishop to e3, castles. This should end up in a situation where white is fine. But yeah, I like that line. It loosens the center, and it gives a full open line to the queen facing d8. So yeah, makes sense to me. I like that opening too, Sam Sejuani. It's a matter of style. But knight to b3, threatening c5, makes perfect sense and leads to a relatively equal game. No problems with that line for sure. So yeah, on to the next one. So here, basically bishop to b6 doesn't really improve the bishop. The issue with bishop to b6 is that it doesn't really improve Black's situation in any way. Bishop to e7 makes a concentrated, effort to defend this knight. This bishop here, the bishop on c5, I don't think that I don't think basically that this is super helpful for Black. If it's prompted by knight to a4, then it makes sense as a move to defend the bishop. But with development for Black not yet complete, so there's still moves like bishop to b7 to be played. Here I think we're out of opening theory, but say bishop to b7, just as a straightforward developing move, or bishop to e6 possibly. That's another. Since Black hasn't completed his development, moving this bishop a second time doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that there are better moves for Black in this scenario. So yeah, so knight takes d5, queen takes, and then bishop to b7. Bishop to b7 maintains this threat on. It maintains a double threat, so pawn can take f6 and queen can take on g2. But queen to g4 actually successfully deals with both of those. Now Black's best opportunity is a tactic relating to queen takes g2. This forces off the queen, and basically on bishop takes g2, the double threat is bishop takes f1 and pawn takes f6. But I think that that's a better way to do things from Black's perspective. So yeah, in terms of improving the situation for Black, I think that there aren't that many opportunities. I think White's playing pretty accurately here, and White ends up winning with a checkmate. Let's slow it down a bit. So here you're still in a very equal position. This tactic, queen g2, was accurate play by White. But let's see kind of where the errors for white were. So far, I think white's played a pretty stable, clean game. Um, Bishop to b4 is considered to be an inaccuracy here. Um, I don't know. That seems kind of uh, I guess no. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with bishop to c4. I was just seeing kind of what the computer views as the errors. I don't think bishop to c4 is terrible by any means. This sort of makes sense for white. Bishop to c4 and pressure on f7. Um, but yeah, this makes sense. I have no objections to this move. It makes sense to me. So I don't know. Yeah, these inaccuracies seem pretty I don't know, specific. This was the first error that I've actually seen from white, to be honest. King to f4, bishop takes f2. This is the first legitimate error that I've seen from white's perspective. Other than that, I think white's played pretty cautiously, solid and makes sense. Black doesn't capitalize on that hanging pawn, and then things do get a little bit rough at the end here. With rook f8, rook to c2. So basically, rook to f8, c2, and then if rook to c8, then you can block off the defense of that pawn or of that queening square c1 with bishop to c7 or bishop to c5. So yeah, here I think black promotes to a queen, but now it's kind of complicated. You know, king. And a very important part of this position is that the king can move with check. So king to d5 and black's basically in good shape. But this was an error. Yeah, you both sides have to be very careful right at the end because there's some tactical complexities going on with early like discovered checks and like a check to block the multi-purpose checks, check to block the king. Basically, on rook to h3 here, if you play queen takes c7 and take the rook with check, as opposed to play rook to h3, it goes from being a mate in 7 for black to being a mate in 6 for white. So overall, if you can take a hanging piece, especially one as valuable as a rook with check, that's usually a good idea, and that would be an improvement here. Here, the fact that bishop to f3 is not just a blocking move, but a move that blocks with check is one that causes black a lot of issues here. So, anyways, this looks like a scenario that played out a little bit rough for white, to be honest, but or played out rough for black, but there were definitely some opportunities at the very end. Let's just go front to back on this. I thought the opening play by white was particularly strong. I thought all this was good. No errors for white. And then the first error that I actually see was king to f4, in which the bishop takes f2. Should be a move that or bishop takes f2. Takes a free pawn. You might as well. Pawn is free, so take it. And then at this point, this basically turns into an advantage for white. F6 is a bit premature. Rook to g2 is given as the move here, and rook to g2 actually queens. So this is a very complicated tactical position. I don't think I can quite give it justice in the time that we have. We have to review it. But the main point here on f6 is that rook can play to g2 with check, and then black can push c2, c1, and queen first. That's the advantage of that. White I think sees that, or black I think sees that the clearance is necessary, but you can actually play rook to g2 as a tactic that improves on this scenario. So this check, and then c2 and c1 and black queens first. This tactic here was good. This made sense. And then you get the king move with the discovered check. Cool. But the real error here, queen takes c7 is the most important thing. So yeah, so at the end of the day, I guess I would say stick with the tactics trainer. Make sure determine vision that you're doing your tactics trainer as much as you can. If you play a tactics trainer enough, you will be able to make it your way through these complicated tactical positions in the end game to be comfortable playing them. So many games come down to like time scrambles at the end where the better tactical player wins. So you want to put yourself in the best possible scenario to win those. I think that's a good opportunity, and I would recommend doing that. To be honest, spend your time on tactics trainers, and tactics trainers will be an effective way for you to improve, particularly in end game scenarios. Okay, here's AJ Green's game versus TK. Cool. Getting I guess I would say that in terms of game analysis, game analysis is cool, but I was sort of moving in the direction. Yeah, no, thank you very much for sending the game, Angry, and feel free. Please send as many more as you'd like. Thanks, Tarash. What I'm saying, I think that might be helpful is what you can do is send the game to or if you have lesson ideas as well. I think you might be someone, Tarash, who would enjoy the theory lessons as well. I'm trying to move it so that we have about half the lesson spent on theory or instructive analysis, and half the lesson spent on game review. We have a new channel. If you have any theory lessons or theory recommendations, Tarash, feel free to just post those in the lesson idea, or in the lesson ideas section. I've just added this up. I've added this up with or basically lesson ideas here. This is a good idea. So this lesson ideas, free chess lessons, lesson idea on the Discord that I would recommend. So get on there. Feel free to submit any lesson ideas that you have, and there's fewer slots for game analysis, but more slots for lesson ideas. Lesson ideas I like because I get to learn stuff. It makes my basically makes my time expended more valuable to me. Knight f6, bishop e3, bishop to g4, queen to d2. Here, this is up to basically this is up to black's. Cool. Yeah. You should post anything that you want. Coach sent a lot of different ideas. We should get we should get onto those ideas from Coach pretty soon. If you want to submit any to the Discord, the new lesson ideas section is sure. Yeah, no, totally. Thanks, Anch. I just want to be straightforward with you. One-on-one lessons, I don't think that I have. I think one-on-one lessons. I appreciate the idea, Anch, but in terms of time expended, I think that it's not really a very efficient use of time. I like your idea, Anch, but I think I'll let unfortunately, I think it's just not the right. This isn't the right vehicle for that. I think that one-on-one lessons don't scale. The value of free lessons is not is scale, right? We could talk a little bit about the kind of the technicals behind it, but where I can add value in making chess lessons free to everyone is scale. I don't have any more time than the average person, so one-on-one lessons I don't think are really what I feel like is the most valuable use of my time. I think that it's much more valuable to give free lessons to 1,000 people. You can really help 1,000 people. So if you're doing something, to try to yeah, no, I think so, and I think it's great that Anch has set up infrastructure to have to have that. Um, but yeah, please post that in the Discord, Tarash. But yeah, Anch, I like the idea, and I think it's wonderful to get to do that. But in terms of the number of people that can be reached by an initiative versus time expended, that's what you want to maximize on. So one-on-one lessons, I think, uh, uh, are not as an efficient use of time, basically. The goal is to have as many people possible getting free lessons. Yeah, no, but it's interesting. I think that's very helpful. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, so queen to d2, knight takes e4, queen to d3, pawn takes, and here basically, I think white's losing. So let's see exactly where the misstep in this opening was. I'm guessing that it probably had to do with the threats that black is getting on e4. But yeah, bishop to b4, and queen d2 is an error. White needs an effective way to defend against this e4 pawn. So bishop to d3 or queen to f3 are an improvement. Queen to d2 and knight takes e4 is too valuable for white. Bishop to d3, f3, maybe even queen f3, but something to defend the e4 pawn. This was a misstep. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, and white is in good shape here. Or sorry, black is in good shape here. The winning that e4 pawn was very valuable to black. I don't know if white's game is in really bad shape, but certainly white is worse. White's down a pawn and has a mangled pawn structure. So defense on d4 or defense on e4 is a theme that's very important in these Sicilian games. F3 seems to solve the problem pretty easily, as does bishop to d3 with development. But I think this was much more promising for white. Castles. And f4 allows tactical opportunities for white. Here, I guess rook to d1, exerting pressure on this d5 pawn, which is now backwards. Basically, f4 makes this pawn backwards. Yeah, visualization is kind of interesting, Jonathan. I think you can do interesting. Is that yeah, that's I like those books that you're talking about. I liked Rapid Chess Improvement. That's the one that I thought was a very efficient way to improve at chess. But yeah, training your tactical vision is always good. Yeah, no, that's right. I think that's a great method. I think that if you do that, if it's helpful to have that kind of framework to get your tactics study done, I think that's a great idea. Totally in favor of that. But yeah, that woodpecker method you're talking about, for sure. So yeah, knight takes e6. BRD1. BRD1 facing queen to d8. This seems to be a tactical opportunity for white. But in any case, f5, leads to black becoming a bit overextended here. The natural pawn breaks for black are things like h6, g5, g4, and a more complete kingside attack. f5 makes things a little bit loose in the center. Rook to ad1, threatening this backwards pawn and threatening knight takes e5, or knight takes e4, which is pinned. This provides a better opportunity for black. The e4 pawn gets weaker because this d4 pawn, this d5 pawn is pinnable by rook on d1 against this queen. So yeah, white's looking fine. And then I think an error here. So bishop to f1. This is going to let more pieces in on the queen side. Now there's an immediate tactic for black. Queen f3, rook b3, and then ideas like e3 are good, as is, I think rook to h5 potentially. But basically, threats on the king side and this very extended center for black are going to get progressively more and more dangerous. Here, bishop c4. Yep, basically this wins. So yeah, that was a big move, bishop to c4. Black resigned immediately after this. So really, this is the type of situation. Interesting. I mean, honestly, here's the thing about basically tactics is. Let's take a look at this position specifically, just since it's the one we literally have in front of us right now. What's the move for white here? And if you've been playing the game, it's almost more difficult to see the move. But if you look at this position, white has a very obvious next move, right? And you can just these types of things do happen. It's a shift of 9 points here. The next move here is bishop to c4, pinning the queen to the king and winning for white. So this is good. This wins for white, and it's solid. So I guess what I would say about bishop to c4, pinning the queen to the king, this wins. This is just a simple one-move tactic. It was a one-move tactic that occurred. Black missed it, and it's decisive. So yeah, pin the queen to the king, exactly. And now this queen is facing this king on g8, and white is totally fine. So yeah, these simple one-move tactics come up all the time. They are frequently decisive. My understanding is that black is a master here, so I think that with this, white's just gonna be better. So yeah, f4 is an error, weakening the center. And then in terms of other errors for white, bishop to f1. Bishop to f3 I think might actually be better here. Bishop to f3 threatens this pawn directly. So I'm thinking bishop to f3 here. Bishop to e4, facing this rook on e4. No. I mean, no. I think that I think that all tactics training is important, but I think seeing the 1 and 2 move tactics is surprisingly useful. Like just in this game where you have the bishop to c4 available, I think that's a big improvement for white here. Yeah, black was winning, but a one-move tactic turned the game around. I mean, I'm just saying, just since that's literally what happened here. These types of things, you need to be seeing in these games, you need to be seeing this almost 100% of the time, or as frequently as you can. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's right. But bishop to c4, and this queen is pinned to this king. And this is a win for white. So... Anyways, my improvement in this game, I think that in terms of white's play, defending e4 was extremely important. It frequently is in Sicilian, so don't forget to defend e4 in the Sicilian. And then there's a number of tactical inaccuracies here, but bishop to f1 is the one that really penalizes white. Bishop to f3 and white is fine. Black can't play e3, and this pawn will get fractured on the next move. So the two moves here, improvements for white. Play bishop to d3 earlier and defend e4, or play bishop to f3 here and pin this pawn to this queen. That's what I'm saying. And if you do this, then you'll end up clipping this pawn on the next move. Rook here, you can play rook takes or anything else, and you can still play rook takes. rook takes or bishop takes on the next move. This equalizes for white, but bishop f1 allows black a ton of play with these 3 very advanced pawns. So this was the improvement tactically. Bishop to f3. At the end of the day, black makes this large tactical error, and the game ends. But here I think that this pin, this queen to this king, is better for white. Anyways, white's better after this, and black resigns immediately. So importance of tactics is the main idea. Bishop to f3 was another tactic that exploited the pinned pawn on e4, and after this, white is doing fine. All right, on to the final game of today. Thank you very much for sending that game, TK. Feel free to send as many as you like. Always play. And here's Emmett's game. This is the game that Emmett played against me in the simul. And I really want to focus mostly on. I sort of want to focus on the trajectory of this game. So really, I think that most of the action is going to be here. Before this change in eval. It seems to be pretty stable after this. This is about a 3-4 point change in eval. So I want to focus on the part of the game prior to that. I play d4 here. D4, c4, knight c3, okay. Black could transpose into the Grenfell, or he could transpose into King's Indian defense. It's up to him. Knight to c6, I think, is objectively not as good as d5. d5, transposing it into a somewhat delayed Grenfell, I think is better. Here, d5 is by far the most popular option. Knight to c6, I think that one of the kind of basic lessons that might be helpful for people to know, why do they call it a good move? I think their criteria for good moves is calling a move good versus calling a move a mistake. I think it does forward your development, but I wouldn't say it's a good move. I would say that, knight to c6. Well, knight to c6 in most queen pawn openings is an error. C6 is C7 is too valuable a resource in many queen's pawn openings. So either c6 to defend d5 or c5 to challenge the pawn on d4. Those two themes are things that happen very frequently in they happen very frequently in the queen's pawn games. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, Random. So I think that it might be helpful for Emmett to I think in terms of making this instructive game, knight c6 is just something that you really shouldn't play in queen's pawn games. It's very rarely correct in queen's pawn games. Not saying that it's never correct, but knight to c6 before knight to c6 locking c7. So basically, this formation of pieces here, this knight on c6 and this pawn on c7, the combination of those two, right. So yeah, I agree with what Tarash is saying. I think that that's a totally good point. But I'm just focused on this structure. I would just burn this structure into your mind, this knight on c6 and this pawn on c7. This structure is very rarely helpful to black. There's rarely a reason to play this. It's usually incorrect. So instead, castles make sense. C6 makes sense. But it's one of those rare situations where developing a piece is actually consistently not correct. The c pawn is too valuable in queen's pawn openings. So I think that this is the move that's worthy of revision here. And I think you see, both in the popularity in which it's played, so 5 out of about 50,000 games, and also this movement of about 0.5 against you. I think between those two, you should be able to screen out knight to c6 from your play. C6, c5 is better. D5 is fine. The issue with D5 now is that its natural defensive moves, C6, is no longer available. Now with D5, if assuming that white doesn't trade this off in a Grenfell situation, you're going to have to play E6 and transpose it into something that looks like a Queen's Gambit declined orthodox variation. That Queen's Gambit declined orthodox variation just isn't super strong for black. It's just not a really great thing. Yeah, I mean H4 is it's early to play H4. I think thematically White might want to have a kingside attack. After H4 is played, White still gets a good eval of about 1.4, but this again is very early to be playing for that kingside attack. Wait until the king castles. I mean, to be completely honest here, particularly with this pawn still on c7, castling queenside is actually better for black than it is in many situations. Bishop g4, bishop b5, castles, queen to d2, bishop takes, pawn takes. Yeah, totally. The thing that I always go with, Kiro, and the criteria that I'm using is what I've learned. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Please post it in the Discord so I don't forget about it. But yeah, please post it in the lesson idea Discord of the chess lessons chess the lesson ideas part. But yeah. Why did bishop take? Trading bishop for knight for no good reason. Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree. I think that that's probably, not the strongest move. The logic behind it is you worsen White's pawn structure. It's an understandable move in my mind, but I do think that it was a not exactly correct. I think it was not the optimal move for Black. Anyways, what I would say is that that was an error. Basically here, what I would stick to is, Kiro's asked a very good question. How do you improve your games? I like the threshold. I like the framework that I'm using to analyze games. It has to do with opening development. Basically, openings involve, openings involve opening trees. So if, assuming you're not playing something that's completely unusual, which I would recommend not doing. I mean, there's a reason why main lines are the main lines. It's because they generally tend to be stronger. This knight to c6, this ends up being, an error. But we particularly know it's an error because of this framework that we've come up with, for analyzing opening moves. The framework is if it's played in an opening where there's an opening theory available and it's played less than 1% of the time and it shifts eval by over 0.5, then it probably tends to be a move that you should avoid. So this fits that criteria. So basically 0.5 worse in terms of engine eval versus your best move. So here d5 has an eval of 0.23, knight c6 has an eval of 0.78, so that's a difference against you of 0.55. You want to, that's above our threshold of 0.5. On the opening popularity chart as well, this is 5 games played out of 50,000. So we know that this isn't the main line, and it isn't, it doesn't improve your position. So using that criteria, I think that those two pieces of criteria are at least the beginning of a more comprehensive framework for overall game analysis. So yeah, knight c6 here, and black is black is considerably worse off than after d5. So that's my argument there. I think d5 is better than knight c6, and after d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5. Black is in a fine position. So yeah, that's my argument. What source would I recommend to learn openings? Good question. Ideas Behind the Chess Openings by Ruben Fine, I think, is a great overview. That will help you find games that stylistically fit with what you're interested in. I think that's a good source. Once you actually establish what opening you'd like to look at, I would use large databases. Chess-based mega database is great. I think anything that's free. So yeah, really anything that's free, I think, is a good idea. But I guess I would say look at databases. Is probably database and database popularity. That tends to be a pretty good indicator. You have to be able to kind of understand how to do it, but I think that that's I think that that's the best kind of route forward for learning openings. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for sending the game, Emmett. In terms of going over things to improve, knight to c6 is not the correct opening move. It's very rarely the correct to play knight to c6 in front of your c pawn in a queen's pawn game. And then the second improvement, I think, is basically, I mean, I think that knight to c6 is a liability for a substantial portion of this, but queen to e7, allowing potential takes on d5, and also just basically adding, not, it doesn't correct this pin basically. I think knight takes e5, taking the free pawn. That's a significant improvement over queen to e7. So knight takes e5. That's better than queen to e7, and yeah, that's just a better idea. So, anyways, overall, I think that's those are two good opportunities, two good improvements, and yeah, thank you very much for sending the game. I appreciate it. Thanks for that. Yeah. I hope that's helpful. Avoid knight c6. Knight c6 is worse in the queen's pawn game. Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you very much for sending the games, and yeah. Yeah, next stream is at 9:35 p.m. Eastern tonight. Everybody, please have a good day, and yeah. I used a lot of tactics training. Tactics training is a good focus. That gives a very efficient a way to improve. But yeah, I would say tactics training is the quickest way that you can improve, Sam Sejuani. That ends up being kind of the most effective way to improve up to probably 2000 level. It's really works. You can learn other things along the way, and you can circle back, but that, I think, is the best way to do it. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thank you all very much for being here, and next stream is at 9:35 p.m. Eastern tonight. Thank you guys very much. I will see you later. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.